we've got stomach noises, and it's all good. How you doing, Colleen?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this week's Great Northern Sexcast because, I mentioned that we had the new website.
Yeah.
Not only is it functioning, people are buying things on it.
Really?
I am so excited. I am so happy with it. And I've got Fantasy Gifts MN directed towards it. I've got myfantasygifts.com directed towards it. Finally figured that out. I have learned so much in the past 3 or 4 weeks. I'm a little giddy.
That's awesome.
Because I've just been, the other website, our backup website's still there, greatnorthernsextoys.com that we've, posted before. But this site, it has our locations. It has our maps. By the way, do you know that Google is charging to embed maps now, which is why we went with MapQuest or something. But that's something I had to figure out. But Sarah has been amazing. Domina's been amazing. She's the one that helped us with this. I dealt with 13, almost 14 months of just pure struggle trying to get the other site to work. I was so optimistic, so close. I thought we were close. Obviously not. Having this thing working, having all the links working, having the maps working, I'm giddy.
Yeah. Well,
there's so much stuff.
I've known you for like 3+ years now. And I don't think that there's really been a very significant stretch of time in that over 3 years where you haven't been dealing with something to do with the website. Yeah. So does this mean now that that myfantasygifts.com and fantasygiftsmn.com will just work now?
That's what it seems to be. Now, mind you, I partner with someone and I guess their whole system could crash. But you know what? I don't have to deal with it when
you don't have to fix it.
I don't have to fix it. And I'm just absolutely positively, and we put a lot of care into it. Sarah did. I plopped it in her lap. There's just been a lot of stuff going on. And I said, just make it look good. And she's worked with me. She's a freaking goddess. And she made a beautiful site. And I'm so happy. So go check it out. I'm just thrilled.
Cool.
I do it that way.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Naked in Minnesota. We've got to kick off with this because last week Florida finally came back into the fold.
Yeah, I almost injured myself snortling and giggling yesterday because I read this when I had some coffee and it went into my sinuses and then coughing fit started, and I just went, oh my God. There were like naked people in Minnesota doing something stupid.
Awesome. But the details surrounding this make me even happier.
Oh, I just love this one. Here, let me read it. Naked jet skiers on Gull Lake were offensive, abusive, noisy, and obscene. They're just right off the bat.
Yeah.
So there was a complaint this month of a naked person on a jet ski on Gull Lake Steamboat Bay near Brainerd, Minnesota. He launched his patrol boat, this is State Conservation Officer Tim Collette, in time to arrest 2 men in their early 30s for offensive, abusive, noisy, obscene, disorderly conduct and careless operation of a watercraft. Their companion was charged for recklessly driving a speedboat.
Was there just 2?
There were 2 of them.
Okay.
And it says he hit the water about 6:30 p.m. on August 12th. A Craigan's employee approached him to say 2 naked men on jet skis had circled one of the resort's pontoons while it carried guests.
So he buzzed the resort pontoon. Awesome. Okay.
While in pursuit, Collette was flagged down by a second pontoon driver who had been cruising the lake with his family, including 2 young daughters. They too had been circled by the jet skiers who were reportedly wearing nothing but safety vest. They were being safe.
I think I think they should get leniency because they had their flotation devices.
And so, since the jet skiers supposedly that both jet skiers were wearing swimming trunks at the time, they rode away and returned without clothes after some sort of incident. Why they chose to take their trunks off, I have no idea. They claim they came off when they came up out of the water. I don't buy that for a minute.
God.
Because then and then here's the most Minnesotan thing about the entire thing.
Yep.
The 2 jet skis were vintage Kawasaki's from the late 1980s, a stand-up style that lowers into the water when the throttle is off. Nobody else. Only someone from Minnesota would care exactly what kind of jet ski it was. And then here's the second thing. Collette said all three suspects had been drinking alcohol, but not enough to make a case against any one of them for drunken driving. So this was sober, or tipsy nudity. They don't even bother in Minnesota, to get. They get annoyed. They decide to jet ski nude to annoy other people, and they're pretty much sober while doing it.
Yep.
So they're safe. This was safe stupidity.
Yeah.
There's nothing. That is the most amazingly Minnesota thing I have ever heard.
Absolutely. I just would like to say that if you wipe out on jet ski going really fast with your junk loose, that could hurt.
Oh God, it had me. See, my brother had a jet ski years ago, and I went on it a few times, and I've had a motorcycle I enjoyed. I liked it, but not enough to say, whoa, I have to go jet skiing. But I hadn't thought about that.
That would hurt.
Oh, the boys. The boys would be smacking the wall. Ooh.
Yeah. It would not feel good. Just saying. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Well, that's maybe why they decided to stay mostly sober. Think about if they. I
still don't know how they would do that without some liquid encouragement of some sort. But okay, God love them.
There was like I said, little nasal coffee amino when I read that. It's just sober, drunken jet skis with safety vests. God, it's just brilliant.
It is. This is the, cyber age version of kids say the darndest things.
Okay.
It's kind of like Reddit. There's another site out there. It's actually British. It's called Mumsnet.
Okay.
And people post, all sorts of, it's a parenting site, but they do have a site where there's some pretty good stuff. And, there was a discussion opened by one woman who's like, so my daughter, my 2-year-old, came in and said to watch me shower. And then in front of my mother-in-law at a family gathering said, Mom has a beard on her willy. And she's like, well, okay, I do have a pretty, raging bush, but I do not have a willy. But, in her limited vocabulary.
Yeah, everything, they probably learned penis because it's hanging out more.
Yep.
And it's so hard to find and we still don't really have a good word, because women's parts, you've got the vagina, you got the muncie. It's a whole bunch of parts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then that started a chain reaction of hilarity, and that stuff is awesome. The stuff that is naturally occurring, because humor. I don't know. I haven't found a really good comedian in a while that I really honestly.
No, comedy's changed a little bit. It's more. It's not just set up punchline anymore. There's stories in there. It gets personal. You're going in there, and you got to think about what's weird about it. I've seen some brilliant shows on Netflix lately. Nanette by Hannah something or another. Was it a brilliant show? But I honestly am not sure whether it was comedy.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It was amazingly thought provoking. It's much more like when folks just go out and when they just a speaker. I don't know. It was amazing, but don't go in thinking that you're going to be watching like Robin Williams.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Very different. Sorry, okay,
well, I agree, and I don't know. I was never really that into the whole slapstick thing, or any of this stuff. Anything where somebody's trying to be funny, you can almost guarantee I'm not going to find it amusing. So I do like the story stuff, and my brother did show me a comedian that had a really, really funny, and it was like a 15-minute thing, one story.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's really interesting, but like the late night shows leave me they do absolutely nothing for me anymore. Like they're just, and there's no interviewer that can ever come close to Johnny Carson.
No.
There's no naturally occurring. Everything is so contrived, and it's stories from professional waxers. Why wouldn't we?
We've touched on this every now and then, but it's amazing what can come up again on waxing.
Yeah. Yeah. This is kind of funny. There's a few different ones. I'm going to talk about this one lady, and I wondered about this because would you who would ever consent to being a waxer's first client? Like after, so this. Okay,
I just honestly,
your eyes started watering.
I'm sort of comfy on the sofa here, but I sort of sat up a little bit, leaned back, and my eyes got wide. And I've only done limited waxing, and I'm pretty sure if we're going where I think I'm going, that there is not a brand new waxer that is slapping wax on my labia. Now, someone's got to learn, but that's what the school is for. Okay, so I know
Colleen is physically reacting, and I haven't even said anything yet.
No,
all I've given you is a headline.
Yeah, oh, really? The crotchal area is grimacing. It's clenching.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Oh my God. Okay, sorry.
Oh, now you made me laugh so hard I coughed.
Okay.
Well, in her own words,
okay.
Paris Thompson says her first time she ever gave somebody a vagina wax, it ended up looking like a crime scene. And your vagina did, in fact, have an intuitive reaction to what I'm about to tell you, because the pubic hair was too long. The wax got stuck to the thick hairs and her lips. And I mean, this thing goes on. She was bleeding as I pulled it off. She had to trim the longer hairs, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it just everything that you can imagine that probably went wrong did.
Oh my God, because I've had some bruising, inner thigh, the little delicate flesh and stuff like. No, you got to. She just decided. I mean, I'm open. There's no way this gal went to school or did anything. I mean, I can't believe she's got the guts to actually say this, and I'm really hoping the person she did was like a fellow student or something, and the two of them.
Yeah.
She got to be waxed next or something.
Yeah.
My God.
I don't know if a refund's going to cover that one, but I digress. There are some things that, yeah. I'm sure like free waxing isn't off the table. I'll do another one for free. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sure that hurt like hell.
I know.
But
I mean, that's worse than the 40-year-old. Okay, that's what because I read that the scene, and people probably know this, that the waxing scene in the 40-year-old virgin, that movie, 10, 15 years older, no, that they went in, and it's a low budget movie. That was Steve getting waxed, and those were the actions, and then the entire cast is desperately trying not to die laughing while this pain is happening.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh. Yeah. And that's a chest. That was bleeding. He was, bleeding for real from his chest. I don't, the poor woman.
We'll just let that one sit there for a minute. Men do get erections while being waxed. And she says, this one, her name is Canada Blake. She says she gives them a stress relief ball but shaped like an ape to remind them that they don't want to look like an ape. But she said, we're touching stuff. And they're so nervous that it's more likely to happen. So she says, I give them a towel and, just try to make them feel as, comfortable as they can. And she says, I also talk about really boring things to try to keep them at ease, like, math equations and stuff like that.
And I'm assuming if the guys are going in and the repeat clients, they know what can happen and it's just going through there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming if someone reacts inappropriately, they tell them to go, we're done now.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the other thing is people break wind and sweat more when they are in intense pain. You are more likely to rip a fart, according to Sophie Rodriguez, who's also a waxer. Another one says no subject is off limits with my clients, whether that's divorce or having affairs. Another one says that, she also has a psych degree, which has come in completely handy. And finally, Colleen, they just want everybody to know that they can, in fact, smell when you've recently had sex. So, and the quote was, if I give you a wipe, there's a reason. So.
Oh, yeah. That's one thing nobody ever really talks about, like, farting. Because people do it all the time, but when you're waxing or you're going to go get a pedicure, you're someplace where you can't excuse yourself.
Yeah.
At one point, you can clench for only so long.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Obviously everybody does it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never forget my father's famous, his famous mea culpa for farting was, I let go to get a better hold and it slipped out. Which I think is funny.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. You're trying to adjust the clench, right?
Yeah. I let go to get a better hold
and it slipped out. Oh my God.
So you can use that if you want.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that was vintage my dad.
That needs to go on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Yep. I could say that about so many words, that I say. Yeah. The phenomenon of guys buying the wrong size condoms has been around for a long time. And the big joke is that they buy them bigger because whatever, and then they don't fit, whatever. Well, now they are selling condoms that can fit over a Pringles can. This is the world's largest condom, and it's called the G31. 9.45 inches in length with a width of 2 3/4 inch potential. It's bigger than Durex and Magnum XLs. Those are 21 and 27% smaller. It is, there is a market for it, but the chances that it's, just saying.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't think they're going to see that stocked at Walgreens and Target anytime soon. That's going to be an online only concept.
There are people that need it. And, this isn't a joke or a novelty.
No,
it's for real.
It's for real. Yeah.
Yeah. It's for
real. They're not going to sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
Actually, I've noticed that, cause, I check out the competition. I've been, when I'm at Walgreens or Target and, I'm anywhere near, folks are not selling as many condoms as they used to. It's like they've gotten back, there's my really bad English there. Poor English. Poor grammar. Okay. They've cut back. I mean, they used to have this entire, wall of condoms, and now it's like half a wall of condoms, and next to it a whole bunch of find out if you're ovulating stuff. So,
really?
So I think they know where their market is. Now it's about having the babies instead of stop having the babies.
Interesting. Yeah. I haven't needed that stuff for so long because I hadn't noticed.
No. I just, like I said, I take a look. What are folks selling? And they're selling all the 12 packs. They're not selling a lot of 3-packs anymore. You're at Target. You're not. Oh yeah, you're stocking up.
Yeah, Costco though, you can get the big one.
Yep.
So penis comparisons. 6 popular penis types. Shall we run through them?
Okay.
The banana.
Oh, a slight curve?
Yep, slightly upward, longer than average. They also have a natural advantage between the sheets because the natural arches means it
G-spot.
G-spot, yeah.
G-spot penis.
Yeah. So, if you're lucky, congratulations if you are associated with one of these as an owner or a
receiver.
User. Yep. Yeah. The hammer. Resembles the body of a hammer, thin shaft in comparison to the larger head, but it's not to be confused with the mushroom penis.
Okay, then.
It's a miniature hammer, shorter and girthier.
Okay.
The cucumber. The cucumber guys are generally the larger. They're just larger than the other types, and their girth is thick all the way along the shaft. They don't have a lot of variation. I
thought you could just say bumpy and really nice in a salad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the pencil. The pencil penis is straight up and down, and it's thinner than usual, but it is thicker than a pencil, but it's still thinner than the other penis types. And then the C shape. The C-shaped penis has a noticeable curve to the right-hand side. It's extremely rare, but it's the banana penis and then some. Why couldn't it turn to the left?
I know. I'm sitting here trying to is the other one like a L shaped?
This is it. L? That's the end of the list. So they don't account
for lefties, huh?
Right.
Oh, that's weird. I'm very confused.
I know. I don't know. How they do that. So if you the trans community has another high profile member that has joined. This is British Vogue's first openly transgender model, Paris Lees. So we're making even further strides.
It's going to be really interesting because it's almost to the point where someone's actual sexuality, no one cares. Almost, you know, there are massive pockets of bigotry out there. I'm not, saying that, but if person A says I'm gay or lesbian, we move on within seconds now.
Yeah,
we're going through there. The transgender, we're getting closer to that. And a lot of times I'm like, an actress just recently, had been working for a while, and she just said she's transgender, and I'm like, okay, I know, but I'm sort of mute in that way. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
I just like the fact that it's, you put someone on a cover of a magazine though that someone may not have known about, and it is sort of going to jar someone's because it's going to make them rethink what they think masculine or feminine is.
Yeah, yeah.
It can be a lot of different things. There's a comedian, what's her name? I'm going to blank on it, but she was in Aziz Ansari's Master of None. She played his best friend.
Okay.
And she got the co-writing Emmy for the show and then the whole deal. Well, she just cut off all her hair. Okay. Because she realizes that she was holding on to it for society's what they prefer for seeing women is long hair. It's the thing that gave her femininity. And she's like, I don't need long hair, to be, I'm still feminine because, I perceive myself as female and stuff like that. So she just cut all her hair off. And so just the idea of what is male and what is female, I think it's really exciting to see that people are beginning to define it for themselves and not let people throw stuff on them. Yeah. Because it always drove me crazy going, God, you'd be so much prettier if you wore a little more makeup. No, I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly feminine. I just don't like to wear makeup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. Mm-hmm. And I'm probably going to tick some people off by saying this, but when it comes to models for sure, and I even kind of feel this way about actors, but models are people that the camera likes and people like to look at pictures of. They're kind of objects. I hate to say that.
Yeah, their job is to be.
So it doesn't matter if somebody thinks they want to feature you in a photo shoot. What difference does it make? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a cool looking photo shoot, type of thing. Same thing for actors. I don't care what you are and what you're playing because your job and what your craft is to be something else. So, again, what difference does it make? Because I know that we talked recently about... well,
there's whitewashing and stuff like that. If you take someone... I mean, I think, a lot of different times you can play a different thing. Like, if you're playing an ogre, I don't care who you're playing. But if a character was written in a book as someone who is Asian and that's part of the book, and then you change the script for a movie and remove some stuff... that depends. You've changed it. Then again, someone's bought the rights to it and I can do it. But I can see that there's differences.
There is. But can I just tell you, though, while whitewashing, I'm not saying it doesn't exist or anything like that. If you could see the bastardizations of scripts. I have a friend who's a screenwriter.
Oh, my God.
What starts out... So that is so minor compared to... I mean, you can take something that starts one way, a studio buys it, and it's nothing like what it started out as.
Peter Segal from Wait, Don't Tell Me. Yeah. He's the screenwriter for a Dirty Dancing Havana Nights. It started off as like a political thriller. It ended up as Dirty Dancing Havana Nights. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going through there, and it's just a fascinating thing. It's going through there.
Yeah, no, I mean, so it's kind of an interesting concept when it comes to the entertainers, because it just doesn't matter as much. Kirstie Alley, speaking of actresses,
what's she doing?
Well, Celebrity Big Brother, I guess. Which is that the definition of the skids?
I don't know. I suppose so. I mean, it's like what? $50,000, you could pay off a year's worth of mortgage or something. Why not?
Who knows? Depending on where you live.
Who knows how much she gets from reruns of Cheers.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody on that show has yet done something that makes requires pulling it off the air forever, like Cosby Show.
No.
Okay. So Kirstie Alley is 67 years old now, which is kind of interesting. I didn't realize that.
I always thought of her as older than me, but now I realize she's only a little bit older than me, like 15 years, which I'm realizing that I'm recognizing people in their 60s as almost peers and not older than me now.
Yeah.
It's just very strange.
Oh yeah, the gap narrows. It certainly does. So I've never watched the show. Honestly.
Big Brother. Oh no, I haven't.
I've never watched any of them. So, whatever. All I know is it's a bunch of people thrown in a house with cameras and it's a reality show, whatever. But apparently she's really hoping that she can find a guy. And she says, I'll have sex all the time if I possibly can.
Good for
on there.
I bet it's really different. People probably have a very preconceived idea of who Kirstie Alley is.
Yeah.
And she's done a lot of stuff. And it's not easy at 67, regardless of whether you're famous or not, to meet anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she's explored her entire friend circle.
Oh, yeah.
Going through there.
For sure. For sure. I think it's really interesting. Two things about her that I've always found fascinating. One, she's from Kansas. That's where my parents are from. But two, she actually shaved her head for the role in Star Trek. Oh,
that's right. She played okay.
Yeah. And she was like, yeah, okay. And, she has some really tremendously fabulous hair, so she was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I just thought that was pretty cool. That's just neat. Okay. Miss Megan just poked her head in and snuck back out, which I'm really sorry that we weren't yet to this story because it's about what? Robots. Sex robots have to show up. Why did we not see this coming, Colleen?
Okay.
How did you not prognosticate the fact that these are, $15,000, $20,000 sex dolls, these really expensive ones, the top-end models that do all sorts of interesting things are. So how do we not see a lease-to-own program coming for this?
That's just a paper. Oh, geez.
Silicone Sex World has teamed up with a credit broker named Ideal for Finance to offer sex dolls for as low as $32 a month.
You're going to be...
What does repossession look like?
This thing is going to break down before you pay off a $15,000 doll. I wonder what the down payment is.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I just... I've got a Steuben crystal glass beaver sitting on my desk over there. And I spent more than I should have, but it makes me laugh every day. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. And I'm giggling at it. I suppose I'm not actually having sex with it, but I suppose if someone wanted to, I have a hard time wrapping my brain around that expensive of a sex toy.
Yeah.
And I sell sex toys. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's to a level that just boggles my mind. But then again, I also have a difficult time with like buying a $250,000 car.
Yeah.
Because to me, a car is a tool.
Yeah.
But then again, I suppose if everyone's allowed to spend their money on the things that make them happy. Some people like to travel. Some people like to have food. Some people like to, have a luxury garage. I don't know. I guess it's not any different.
Yeah.
And this one, at least have an orgasm with.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to be boggled.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, like I said, I think that there's so many problems from a financial standpoint. Like at least with homes and cars, you can repossess them and
resell
they're worth
them.
Something.
Yeah, you're right.
Who's going to buy a used sex doll? You.
That's just not happening.
Talk about what do they call it? The depreciation when it goes off the lot.
Because people like buying used underwear from people. Maybe there's a secondary market.
Oh, God. Okay.
I just grossed out the poor. Oh. She just winced. Has her head in her hands. I just grossed her. After this many years, I managed to, we still can gross each other out.
Yeah. It happens occasionally. Okay, so there's going to be a new polyamorous story making news. That show, by the way, Polyamory, that was on Showtime. I still haven't seen a new season of that come out.
Yeah, I don't have Showtime, so I was aware that it existed or something. There's a lot of stuff out there. They're like, do you know about this? I said, I barely watch anything that isn't on Netflix or Hulu or anymore.
I'm becoming.
I added Acorn TV so I can get my British on.
Yeah, that's fun. I love that. So this one's hailing from Australia. He actually has a wife, a fiance, and 2 girlfriends, and they all live in a love dungeon in Armidale, New South Wales, Australia.
A love dungeon.
Yeah. The group, the women are 19 to 27 years old. They refer to him as Sir or Master. And it's a BDSM little polyamorous pack. And I think that, quite honestly, if there's weapons and bondage equipment, this is truly a recipe for disaster and domestic violence.
It's
waiting to
only
happen,
polyamory if the other women have other relationships. Other than that, it's like Mormonism. Mm-hmm. If I'm just from the headlines here, polyamory means that the other people have multiple relationships generally also.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I might be a little bit wrong on that, but the most folks I know do, both partners are usually, sometimes, maybe not at the same time, but have been involved in other stuff. This sounds like the other person is not involved.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's new beer claiming to make you better in bed, boost sex drive and virility. It's called Watercress Warrior. And it uses watercress seeds as the key ingredient with vitamins A, B, C, and E. They use hops, watercress seeds, and natural spring water.
I'm just giggling over the fact that just most alcohol goes for limp dick anyway. So...
So they added watercress. I love watercress. Do you like watercress?
Honestly, I'm sure I've had it, but I could not. If there was like a bunch of greens on a plate, I couldn't pick it out.
It's very peppery. Mm-hmm. It's really, really, really good.
That's why they put it in like a little cucumber and sandwiches, right?
Yeah, but it's oh god, it's super tasty. Mm-hmm. And what the claim from the Cerne Abbas brewery is that beer makes you better in bed because, number one, it makes you last longer, saying that the beer can help delay premature ejaculation, if of course you can get it up. Dark brews get you in the mood. They contain more iron than pale beers, increasing red blood cells and overall circulation. And beer increases stamina, which probably they can't come because they have whiskey dick, but I digress. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I have never heard anything positive about alcohol and sex.
Yeah.
This interesting marketing stance here for this booze.
Yeah. I think guys don't need much of an excuse, and if this is enough to put them over the edge, God love them. God love the marketing department. Mm-hmm. The Colombian city of Santa Marta is having a heat wave, and health officials there are urging residents not to have sex. Stay indoors, stay hydrated, wear loose clothing, and to prevent overheating, do not get busy.
That's one hell of a heat wave.
Yeah. Well, they've had 600,000 people flooding the hospitals with heat stroke. So they're saying
anything,
just don't.
Just don't.
Just don't. What does that make people want to do?
Yeah. You tell someone no sex for you. It's just like
I want to do is get it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So here's a weird. This is interesting. There's this new battle that the transgender community is taking on, and they are calling it. Have you heard of dead naming?
Oh yeah, it's referring to someone by their previous name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, folks can slip out, but when folks are consistently do it, it's very disrespectful.
If it's done on purpose, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think there's times when A, if you forget, or B, if you're confused.
Yeah, I'm confused. I mean, if you've known someone for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, or, by a previous name, it might pop out.
Yeah.
But, there's intent. There's a whole bunch of stuff behind it. But if you're someone that refuses to use a chosen name, and I don't care whether you're trans or whether I change my name tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's after a while, it's, one or two slips, It's a slip. After that, because I have a hard time. I get names right, but I'll screw a pronoun. I know a few folks, and I go on. I pause for a moment. I rephrase myself with the correct pronoun, and I move on. Yeah. But I'm not doing it on purpose.
Let's add another layer to this. When they were calling one journalist, her name is Monica Roberts. And she's a Florida journalist. She looked at investigations involving trans people, particularly murdered, and found that in 74 of 85 cases, the victims were identified by their old names or genders. And her point is, if Susie is murdered, don't use the name Sam because people may not know who Sam was. And police are pushing back, saying we use the gender that's on the examiner's report. So this is a new frontier.
Well, I guess it depends on whether or not the legal paperwork has been done. I'm just going through there. They may not have a choice.
Yeah.
I'm just going through there. If folks make it easier to get birth certificates changed, to get IDs changed, and not make it so difficult that some people simply can't afford it. It's going through there. Yeah. So I think it has, I wouldn't focus on the report. I would focus on making the paperwork easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, it's an interesting conundrum, because I don't even
that and the fact too that someone might be interested and they might not know that this, you're looking for this person, but this person, but I think if the legal paperwork has been filed and changed, then you got to go with the name.
Okay, and I'm not trying to be like a labelist, but I kind of feel like there is a certain situation where you have to maybe have a designation of transgender because for some reason or another it may become germane that there was a transition that occurred, and it could involve your own safety. You don't know. Yep. I mean, so I'll be curious to see how this gets handled moving forward. I mean, you definitely want to support people in living their lives the way that they feel that they are meant to. You just want to make sure too that they can be taken care of. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess this would be a fireable offense if you're a cop. You tape yourself having sex using your body cam. How have we not heard this happen before? Because they're perfect for that.
I just it's a work it's a work tool. Get yourself your own GoPro. You have to say,
yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's stealing work office supplies. It's the same thing you're using. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The only way that they found it, he used it, all the time, and he saved them on a flash drive, and he had a folder on his work computer labeled "Fun Time." So he would use his work body cam to tape himself doing this, and he'd save him on the thing.
Yeah.
Here's how they caught him. They only found it because he was accused of beating and falsely arresting a man.
And they had to search his computer, and that's what they found.
And so, here's the thing. Isn't it just so typical that when you find one thing that somebody does wrong, funny, it's you uncover other shit that they've been doing. So
no, don't use your work tools for fun times.
No. So I just want to ask you, because we talked about the website at the beginning of the show, but are you still doing the Flow Drive?
Yes, okay. We are doing the Flow Drive until September 3rd, but we might extend it. I'm not sure. We're finally getting a little bit more momentum. Here's thank God for bringing it up.
Yeah.
So Megan has been attempting to promote it on Facebook.
Okay. First,
Facebook says that our images or our wording is sexually explicit. No, it's not.
Okay.
Then now their newest thing is that it's political content, and we don't have permission to do that.
Political?
Yeah. Tampons and pads for homeless women is political. So obviously periods are political. She actually, if you go to the Fantasy Gifts Facebook page, she did a screenshot of the actual wording from Facebook and
Okay.
said, please go share this. And so I shared it. My friend shared it. Just like there is. I mean, I'm wondering if it was a fundraiser for Men's Depends for prostate problems, if that would be political or if it's just women's stuff. I mean, it seems every time you turn around, you run into a roadblock for something that is especially if it has to do with women's issues. It's just frustrating. So no. So first we were sexually explicit. And now it's political. And we're trying to get an idea of what it means by political. But, of course, the bot's not talking. But, so you don't get a hold of an actual human.
We need to tie the bot to a straight back chair and beat it to submission.
Yeah. So the flow drive is going on through the 3rd. But the other day, Megan was she was teary-eyed. She walked into the crystal store and the bin was completely overflowing.
Yay!
Someone had come in. And so I'm going to say, except people are seeing it on our website, but not everybody goes to the Fantasy Gifts website every day. I mean, I wish they did, but they don't. You don't shop me. You go to Target maybe once a week, but I know you don't go to Fantasy Gifts once a week. Mm-hmm. So we might extend it. If not, but we can always, I don't know, if folks wanted to drop stuff off anytime, or, I mean, you can go and see the information on the flow drive, but do check it out. I've been flabbergasted by the fact that tampons for homeless women is political.
Well, and on that very note, you have a very nonpartisan week.
Sounds good.